Psychologist Corinne Sweet joins us now on the phone. Also, Catherine Stewart from Scottish Widows. We're talking about financial planning for the future. Welcome to the programme. Good morning.
Good morning.
Right, so what does research show, first of all, about us?
Well, there's been a study done by Scottish Widows that's come out with the most extraordinary findings, which is, contrary to popular belief, young people are in fact the planning generation. They're the ones who are actually planning for their futures, but people over 55 are a bit hopeless about it. And it's probably because the baby boomer generation has lived very much sort of hand to mouth, and also there's been a kind of great big cultural shift where in the old days people had proper jobs and, just plodded on into the pension zone, and now life has changed completely and we've got to think very differently. And young people seem to be gearing up much more than we think they are and thinking about their future in sort of a sensible way, much more than we realise.
One of the problems probably was the fact that we've had, such bad press over the last few years about this, and there's certainly a different sort of mindset now by some people, I guess.
Yes, I think that's true, and also the younger generation probably, it's a modern phenomenon, a life plan, thinking ahead, what do you want? We have got the younger generation who are highly educated these days, very technologically competent, they're very optimistic about their prospects, and they're hugely ambitious. And I guess they've realised, they've looked at their parents who, I guess, things have been done for them. They've walked into that pension, as Corinne said, and it's not the same for the younger generation anymore. And they're probably seeing their parents, what we call the sandwich generation, for want of a better term, where they're experiencing demands from both their children and their parents, perhaps having children's university education fees to pay, as well as their parents' care home costs. And therefore, we've lost a generation of savers with that particular generation who have other financial commitments. And it's great to see that the youth of today are actually learning from that.
So many things have changed, really, as we said, in the last, less than 10 years, but it's really changed. Not necessarily for the better, would you say?
Well, I think it's difficult to say. I think life is much more complex in the 21st century than it was before, but we are much more internet savvy, and I think young people are used to shopping around. Think about how they use mobile phones, for instance. In the old days you just had a phone in your house if you had one, but now people shop around, they look at prices, they've become much more savvy about moving between companies, and I think the same thing is happening for financial planning. Where you are in St Albans, 44% of people in the survey said that they're living for today, and that's about average. 42% said they are looking for the future, but 23%, which is actually a very high percentage in terms of the survey, are planning the next 2 to 5 years. So it could be that St Albans is a fairly nice leafy area and people are able to look to the future, but it also might be part of the mindset there that people are quite sort of ambitious and thinking, right, I'm not going to end up on the heap, I'm going to do something about it.
Right, so what's to be done then?
I think as a savings expert, 2 to 5 years is wonderful, but I really think we should be looking a much further time horizon. I think people need to actually start saving as early as they can, however small. We've become a nation of spenders, and I think, clearly affordability is a key barrier to saving. But, for people that want to have an income in retirement, we really suggest that people need to start saving by the time they reach 30, which is a very young age. But the longer you put it off, the more difficult it is to build up a good income. And in terms of just some golden rules about creating a great financial plan, today, firstly, control any debt, because it's more than likely the interest you pay will be more than the interest you earn in any savings. And keep money in a savings account for financial emergencies. After all, we all have them when the car breaks down or something happens in the house, and we need to have a little nest egg there just to cope with those financial emergencies. And then saving for the medium to long term, and as I said earlier, I mean a horizon of 10 years plus, so that you can put something away, forget about it, and have it there when you really need it. And the final element of a plan would be just ensuring you and your dependents are provided for if you fall ill or die. So if you start looking at some of these steps and taking a step in the right direction, at least people are beginning to future-proof their financial future.
Right. Where to look for more info then?
It can seem to be a complex area, but it's not, and we've got lots of free information and very good information on beginner's guides on our website, www.scottishwidows.co.uk.
All right, Corinne Sweet and Catherine Stewart, thank you very much for joining us. Cheers.
Bye.